Hello everyone, this is Tom. The reason for this video is the new concept art that you are seeing right now, but what I'm going to be talking about is sort of the news about Dark Souls 2 thus far. The only specific concept art image that I want to comment on is this one right here, of a chariot, because vehicles have been confirmed to be in Dark Souls 2, which is radically different from anything that we saw in Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls, so that's super exciting. But other than that, the things that I'm going to cover in this video are going to be some sparse details that have come out about the story and gameplay of Dark Souls 2, some different ideas about dedicated servers and what we've heard about those, and a sort of controversy that stemmed out of comments about accessibility. So, according to an interview of game director Tomohiro Shibuya by Famitsu magazine, Dark Souls 2 is set in the same world as Dark Souls, but there's no direct story connection. So what Shibuya said is actually, if the first game was set in the North Pole, this one would be in the South Pole. So you can see that there's very little actual connection geographically, and, you know, there might still be the same gods, or maybe we find out that any of the gods from the first Dark Souls are actually just local entities that don't act across the entire world at all, because there was an idea that all of that was just sort of a sham that they had said to take power. Another story detail, very, very sparse, is that time is one of the central themes, kind of a driving idea for Dark Souls 2, which is a bit different from anything that we've seen before again, because really time hasn't played that much of a role in the other games. You know, there's been how far you are developed into the story, but that's a little bit different. It's not like Ocarina of Time, or certainly not like Majora's Mask, right, where you need to actually meet up with different characters at different times in their day, but they're just going about things based on what they do. So maybe we'll be seeing that. I'm sure it would be a darker rendition of that, seeing as it is still Dark Souls. Moving on to the servers. Dark Souls 2 will have dedicated servers. Dark Souls 1 did not, and that was actually a cause of a lot of the difficulties in terms of both finding opponents and also having lag when you do find an opponent. So I'm really excited for those dedicated servers, simply because Demon Souls had a much richer online experience than Dark Souls, in my opinion. And also, it was all universally connected. So in Dark Souls, you couldn't necessarily just put down a summon sign somewhere and have someone go to it and get summoned into your world, because there was this sort of, like, you only connected to some people who were playing the game. And that also created difficulties for matchmaking. It's probably too much to hope for legitimate, like, working matchmaking, like press a, you know, play 1v1 PvP button and within a few seconds it just matches you up with someone, like, you know, Halo. That's probably too much to hope for, but oh my word, would I ever love that. And then the last thing that I want to cover is this accessibility controversy that sort of happened earlier from an earlier interview with Edge magazine. Shibuya started this by saying that he's the sort of person who likes to be more direct than subtle, and that Dark Souls 2 will be more straightforward and more understandable. So there's a newer Famitsu interview that has happened that might help unrustle some people's jimmies. The old director of Dark Souls 1, Miyazaki, he clarified the sort of idea that they were getting at by saying there's certainly a core that needs to be protected, but that there's a lot around that core that we need to fix or adjust. So that's something I think even the most diehard fans can probably agree with. If you've ever died to a dead angle hit where you've got your shield pointed right at the person, but because of the angle that they were facing when they swung their sword, it hit you through your shield and killed you, or you died to a laggy backstab, I think you can probably agree that there are some issues that need to be resolved around that core of Dark Souls that is so very magnificent. So that is all that I have to say. I'm super excited for Dark Souls 2. It's still probably a long ways off, but I hope you guys are excited too. Can't wait to get my hands on this game, and I will see you guys next time.